DJ LeRoy.
NightWatchman. How you doing, buddy?
I'm good. But evidently, one of us forgot to sacrifice a small animal to the gods of technology.
I think that is what has happened, but I do believe that we are finally on track, as they say. Is that correct?
Absolutely.
Okay. With that said, we got to definitely bring up returning guest Michael Unthank. Let's do that.
All right.
Okay. Michael,
how are you?
How you doing, buddy? Oh,
I'm doing great. I'm doing great.
So a lot of times, Michael, he may roast me just like you. So maybe the reason that we were having some technical difficulties could it be because of Michael?
No. Michael brought our whole cultural ethos up just by coming in. So, yeah.
Well, I thank you guys for having me and for talking about spending the time talking about the carnival, the Children's Art Carnival today.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a co-chair of the Children's Art Carnival, as I mentioned. I don't know exactly how that happened, but I do know that that we have a legacy to protect and extend that was left to us by the artist Betty Blayton Taylor, who passed away in 2016, and she was the founder of the Children's Art Carnival back in 1969. And for 57 years, the carnival has served the folks of Harlem. So I wanted to maybe introduce a couple of our people. First, I wanted to introduce a carnival kid, actually, and a wonderful artist, Dionis Ortiz, who has the role currently as the exhibitions manager at the carnival. Dionis, are you here?
What's up, buddy?
Dionis, can you hear me?
Good morning, guys.
All right.
All right.
Welcome. It's good to see you.
Yes.
Hey, Curtis.
Yes.
I can hear you, but I can't hear Michael or Bob.
Oh.
Wow. Oh, Lord.
I do.
NightWatchman, what do you think is going on, man?
I don't know, but just since you're here, Curtis, ask him some questions. And
yes. Notice, and I saw a little one in the background. And who is that?
This little guy right here is Lennox.
Oh, hey, Lenny. Beautiful. So now, have you also embraced, because I understand that you are a Children's Art Carnival alum, embraced the importance of art in the lives of children and adults, for that matter?
Oh, man, all the time. That's pretty much become a part of my life, right? Is to, I live in from head to toe, from down this hill in the valley to up that hill at Sugar Hill. It's all about art. It's all about art every single day, So I live it, I teach it, I make it. It's like I hang it on the wall. It's nonstop. It's 24/7. So
beautiful. Well, brother, thank you and welcome to Soul Lounge. So with that said, Michael, who else we got on deck?
Well, Dionis and collaborated with another carnival kid, Kathry Destin, who's a journalist and a photojournalist, and on her way to bigger things come the fall, to put together an exhibition, which is something we wanted to talk about for a few minutes. And Catherine, here she is. Catherine's a West Harlem resident, Curtis, so you have to treat her nicely.
And I will, because she's West Harlem.
Sugar Hill all the way.
Ooh, she's even getting specific on this. Okay, quite nice. So do tell, your involvement. How old were you when you first picked up the brush or the pen to write your journalism?
The brush, the pen, the glue, the staplers, everything in between. I think I started picking those up around 4. My parents got me involved with Art Carnival. I'm literally maybe a 10-minute walk away. I'm an only child, so my parents needed to throw me into something. So I started Children's Art Carnival around then and was doing it for about 10, 12 years.
Wow, beautiful. Welcome, my dear. Absolutely.
Thank you for the warm welcome.
And
finally, I'm sorry, Curtis, did I cut you off? Excuse me.
No.
Finally, I wanted to introduce Souleo, who's a curator, among many other things. And Souleo is a curator of a show that's up that talks about the history and the role of the carnival in creating Black artists of today, and includes many of the artists that are at the carnival today. So Souleo, welcome, please.
Hey,
And normally, Solia, I would see you in that other spot, Central Harlem, but welcome to West Harlem, buddy.
thank you for having me.
So tell me about your journey.
My journey. So yeah, I'm a curator, and I actually one of my early shows, Betty was in. It was an AARP show, and then after she passed, I curated a solo show of her work that helped to sort of reignite some of the interest surrounding her practice. And I'm grateful now to once again be able to honor her legacy and the Carnival's legacy through our new exhibition.
Beautiful. Thank you and welcome. Michael, I definitely have to give some major props to Karen Taylor Bass.
Yes.
Because she put it on the radar and said, hey, we'd like to come on Soul Lounge Primetime. So what's this? I saw this big press announcement. Tell me a little bit about that, man, Michael. Go ahead.
Well, after Betty's passing, and well, actually prior to Betty's passing, through the whatever that financial collapse was around 2010, the carnival suffered funding losses, et cetera, and ultimately had to close its doors or pause its programs for a time. Because of Betty's vision, however, Betty had already purchased our building many years ago on Hamilton Terrace, which is, as West Harlemites know, one of the most beautiful and pristine blocks of homes in New York. And in any case, so we have been a team of folks, volunteers, former Carnival kids or Carnival alum, like Dionis and his brother Jose, have been working diligently to rebuild the carnival. So since her passing, that's what we've been working on. And over the past few years, we've had some success, not enough, but we want to create the organization so it could survive and thrive for another 50 or 60 years. So that's our goal. The show that's up, we're putting up an exhibition now. This evening, as a matter of fact, is the opening at 6 o'clock over at the Carnival, called Still Here, which is a homage to Harlem and its tenacity, its the folks that make it hum and survive and thrive. So Dionis and Catherine have really focused on that. But concurrent to that, the Wallach Gallery at Columbia University in its new building, the Linfest Art Center, opened a show. I think on the 25th of June, which honors the carnival and the role that it played in helping to develop many of the Black artists that came and elsewhere that are well known and certainly respected and today. And that was really so much of her charge that she put on herself, is to get visibility, get recognition for Black artists back in the 60s, when that was something that was definitely not in vogue. She was also one of the founders of the Studio Museum in Harlem. So Souleo, who's here with us today, is the curator of that show. So the whole piece is really about talking about the roots of the carnival, and where we are today and where we hope to go in the future.
Beautiful. And Dionis, now, are you and your brother West Harlemites? Is that?
Are you West Harlemites, Dionis? Dionis?
I can't hear nobody.
Oh wow. Okay.
Can you hear me? Oh man.
Okay. NightWatchman, what about you? What are you saying? Can he hear you?
No.
Dionis, can you hear me?
No.
Okay. Then what's going to happen then? If you can, you send them a little note to go out and come back in. And in the meantime, you know what? We're going to hear from, of course, Catherine. You're going to tell us your journey. You're a West Harlemite, I'm assuming. Right?
Yes, I am.
All right. So tell me about your journey, specifically, and also this particular show that's happening, and the importance also, because I understood that there were at one point there was a Black arts movement, very, very prominent and strong. Is that the history that you guys are trying to recapture, or something different? Tell me.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. So a little bit about my journey. So I'm a born and raised Harlemite. I'm actually a fourth generation Harlemite on my dad's side. From my Jamaican side of my family, moved to Harlem many, 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 many decades ago.
Nice.
So I'm very proud to be from here. Went off to college away, and then just found my way back home after graduating in 2021. In terms of the exhibit, we are just like so excited to continue that tradition of the Black arts movement for sure. That is that legacy that people like Betty, who founded the Carnival, were always keeping in mind and envisioning. And so for us, with the exhibit still here, Harlem Eternal, our goal is really just to further the work and the visions of Black artists, local Harlem artists, and just keep the beauty and the things that we can create alive as we see our community continue to shift and change, which is something that always happens in community. But we want to make sure that we preserve the legacy that has been forged over the last 100 years, particularly by Black and Latino working and middle-class Harlemites.
Beautiful. Thank you for that. And Souleo, of course, I know you, Central Harlem, and all around. So do tell me about your curation of this particular exhibit.
Yeah, so this exhibition is really looking at the Carnival through the lens of contemporary artists and looking at the ways that the Carnival's approach to art education, approach to community building impacted artists such as Basquiat, such as Dionis and his brother Jose and Shabalala South, artists who were transformed on a spiritual, personal, and creative level through their experience at the Carnival. And in addition to that, we have an historical section that traces the timeline of the Carnival from its 1942 origins at the Museum of Modern Art to today. And also we have some really cool photos of like Wilmere Bearden and Stevie Wonder interacting with the Carnival's students. So there's a lot of really rich content, including oral history interviews with the artists and some content from Betty on video.
Wow. And Souleo, you know I can't let you go. You got to tell me and explain that background.
So this is actually the work of my partner, Bo McCall, who is not in the show, but I wear him all the time, have some button necklaces on. So this is it's actually an eye patch, and it just works really good as a backdrop. It's just nice and colorful.
Very nice, brother. Very nice.
Thank you.
So, okay, Dionis, can you hear us now?
Yes.
Yes. We're there. Okay. So did you grow up in Harlem? You and your brother?
Born and raised in West Harlem.
I like it, West Harlem. Thank you. You know the difference.
Absolutely. No, I grew up pretty much about a block away from the Children's Art Carnival.
Yeah. Nice. Okay. And do tell me what attracted you, and did you know the whole story and history of this historic place?
No, growing up, no, I did not actually know the history of the carnival. I pretty much what brought me in was because my brother Jose was a part of it. He started first, taking some workshops there, and because of his I guess his positive, kind of like experience there. He had, pretty much mentioned it to me, and I took interest because I was always a creative kid, but I didn't necessarily know exactly what I wanted to focus in on. So the carnival was a great place for me to really explore art on a deeper level. Because prior to the carnival, I was actually attending workshops at times from the Harlem School of the Arts. So going from there, because of my public school would take us there on field trips, it was great to really learn that the carnival was just right around the corner, just one step up from the hill. And so, it's just been a very impacting place because of the types of things I got to experience, and the kinds of artists that I got to meet is what really kept me there, because it felt like a safe space. and and along with that, a space where exploration was, at its core, and that kept me, pretty much engaged at all times.
Beautiful, beautiful. And you know what? I'm thinking in my head now, Michael, that certainly some of the stuff that you had revealed, I did not know in terms of Betty Blayton's involvement, in terms of also what was happening at the Studio Museum. So I want to know whatnot with the Children's Art Carnival. Have you guys also, let's say, promoted the elevation of, let's say, local artists in that forum, and tell me, and how have you gone about doing that?
Well, we as we tried to, all of us tried to continue to try to bring the carnival to back to what it needs, back to full functionality and full operations and sustainability. We felt that it's important to focus as locally as possible because we have very limited resources. And so we have been very focused on local artists. And Dionis's point about the explorative aspect of the carnival, that's always been an aspect of the carnival, which is what created the many of the art, or helped to create many of the artists that are at the Wallach and the wonderful show that Souleo curated today. And so we want to capture that same sense that the carnival is a place for artists, a place to work, to hone their craft, and also a place for them to engage with young people, their families, and the community, which is much more diverse than it was then. So we want to move that forward. So yes, we are very committed to local arts. We have 5 artists in that have workspace at the studio at the carnival right now, and they contribute their talents and their ideas to what we do on a participatory basis with community members.
NightWatchman,
Yes.
do tell, what do you have on deck?
Well, I wanted to ask all of you, so there's a through line from the Renaissance to now of the history of Harlem being a fertile ground for artists to explore themselves, find their artistic selves, and express it. But we're in an era where it's become harder and harder for artists to do that, with funding and the attack on DEI and all other types of nonsense. So how do you guys feel about the future and about what you're doing? Because I know that bottom line is real artists are just compelled to create every day. But how do you feel about the current environment, and how are you reacting to it?
I'd like Souleo to riff on that for a minute because of the work that he's been doing and how he feels that may or may not challenge the status quo, and how he sees that within the context of today's environment.
Yeah, as you mentioned, there are a lot of challenges. For me, I always look to the past and look what those who came before me and other generations who helped pave the way, what they experienced and what they went through. And when you look at the carnival's history through this exhibition and through its work today, you see that, it came about in Harlem during a time of the Black arts, Black power, civil rights movement, all that was converging, and yet they still made a way. And I think that that's a reminder that through collaboration, through grassroots efforts, through mutual support, we can find a way if we pull together and work on this together. So for me, that's an inspiration that they could deal with it back then there's no excuse for us not to rise to the challenge of today's obstacles.
Very good. Well, you know what? And Michael, that sometimes I've gotten into exchanges. I didn't say necessarily heated exchanges. Because some folks have said the second Renaissance Harlem. I challenge that and say that no, the Renaissance was driven by arts and culture, this is something different. So, and Kathry, because you are a journalist, your thoughts?
Oh, I think that's a really great point. Yeah, what's the saying? Diamonds are made under pressure. I really think art is always just a way for people to express themselves during tumultuous times like this. And I fully agree that arts and culture would bring some of the best out of Harlem, and some of the like amazing artists that we have here today. And so in this current moment where we see a lot of like funding rollbacks, or we see a lot of disregard for the importance of the arts, but you just can't get rid of us. As Souleo said, I would just reiterate everything he said. Just that we've been through some really horrific things before as a people, as artists, as creatives, and we'll get through it. And I think some of the best art we make are under pressure. So I'm really excited to see what we continue to make during this time, and to bring the community into it and get them involved as well, because anyone can be an artist if they have something to say. So if anyone's got reflections on what's going on, we want to see it, we want to hear it, we want to love it.
And that's kind of what the show is about. That's kind of what Still Here is really all about. There are folks that have been longstanding champions of Harlem and maybe not even recognized as that. And it's the folks, it's the basic citizens that continue to say hello, good morning every morning when you walk the streets of Harlem, and help you if you're trying to get up the stairs with your baby carriage or something, whatever it is. Harlem is much maligned, but also much misunderstood. And I think that's a lot of what the show is about at the Carnival. And it also shows at the Wallach the full circle of the Carnival's legacy.
Michael, I may have to challenge you just a bit, okay? So now, knowing, of course, that your roots are also where in Charleston, South Carolina, are you sure that that's not just Southern hospitality that you're talking about?
Well, folks in Harlem come from everywhere. I think most of us come from the Deep South. A lot of folks from Alabama, Mississippi, Texas moved to California and the Western states. So people took different routes. So we didn't just, kind of show up here by accident. So those are habits that go back generations, certainly. But people don't get it. It's like, oh, it's the worst place in the world to be in
really?
City, and you have to straighten them out. I straighten them out when I'm in Charleston, sometimes at great risk to myself.
Very good, very good. Have you heard that, Kathry? Where do your people trace their roots to?
Yes, that's exactly. I had to interject here. So on my dad's side, I'm Jamaican. On my mom's side, I am Black and Indigenous American. And so I was just going to say, we've got that Caribbean hospitality too. We might be a little bit rougher around the edges, but we are so welcoming. And so I was ditto, Michael. I just love the hospitality of Harlem that I genuinely find so rarely in other parts of New York. And it does really feel like a family. And like I said, even though it's changing, a lot of that is still here. So come one, come all, but also act right when you get here.
Beautiful. Nice guy. Dionis, where do your people trace their roots from?
They go back to Dominican Republic.
DR, baby, in the house. Okay, nice. Yeah. Nice. Now here it goes. I'm going in a little bit further. Here it goes. Okay. A number of, let's say we have one island, Hispaniola, right? Mm-hmm. One side we have Haiti, the other side we have Dominican Republic. Do the folks from DR also embrace their African ancestry? Here it goes.
Not everyone, but that is something that has been changing over the past couple of years.
Nice.
I mean, a little bit more than a couple, but because I think that the younger generation, like myself, especially a lot of the Dominicans born in New York or born in America, actually have become more informed, and I think that they are speaking out more. And they are educating their parents. I mean, I've educated my parents a lot about what they don't know about the Dominican Republic, and they have an experience that is based on a lived experience of being in DR, during the 40s, the 50s,
Yes.
living under a dictatorship. And so there's a lot of information that they go without knowing pretty much. And I think living here in New York allowed me to really understand a little bit more of the breadth of history that, going back to slavery and going back to, kind of colonization and how kind of like how it all began in some ways, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Even though that traces back really far. I think that that's allowed a lot of us, when I say us, meaning the Dominicans born here in New York, to have a better, kind of more of a comprehensive understanding of why we're here and why we are in the position that we're in. And so it just allows us to educate our parents and educate the community as well. I think it's taken form in my work, I would say, in a more, I guess, strategic way. It's not loud, but I think that when you look at the work, you can kind of get a sense of like the embracement of like my African ancestry, but as well as the Spaniard side, right? It's a bit of both. I never want to deny any, because that's excluding one doesn't help
Right.
the other side. So we have to learn how to really embrace the good and the bad, because there's always a bad story, a bad side to a story, in any case, right? And so I think that it's about understanding both sides, and I think that that's what I feel like my work has been serving that, as well as other young people as well.
Beautiful. And funny that you mentioned that, because recently, of course, in Harlem, that we've had a recent primary where we have a young Dominican woman who also accepts and puts out her African ancestry.
Absolutely.
One against an incumbent. Is that the mood then you would say of all of the younger folks in the okay, go ahead.
Yeah, no, definitely, man. And it's great to see that and to hear that, because it's very much needed, because we need the truth needs to rise to the top, right? It needs to continue to like make way, so that we can have a better sense of our identity, and also to help bridge those gaps, right? Because a lot of what we live is misunderstandings, right? It's not really that. It's not. I don't know. I think misunderstanding is at the core, because we're so alike. We just don't see it, right? And I think that's where it really lies. That it's just having a deeper and better understanding about where we're from, and because there's a lot of stories that have been told out there, and I think that we have to always focus on trying to find ways or creative ways to tell our story.
Excellent. And having heard that, Michael, I'm thinking about, of course, the Caribbean Cultural Center. And I know that Melody Capote wants to actually have a collaboration with the Children's Art Carnival. Now, has that yet happened? And if not, we're going to make sure that it does happen. And your thoughts?
Well, the Caribbean Cultural Center and Marta and Melody, unbelievable. I guess what I would say, no, to answer your question directly, we don't have a direct collaboration now, but we are definitely interested and open to collaborating. There should be greater collaboration between East Harlem and Harlem, West Harlem, Central Harlem. And the more we could foster that, the better off we'll all be. We do collaborate, have a long-term collaboration with Centro Civico Cultural Dominicano over at 145th Street and Riverside Drive. All of these organizations basically, although I will say Centro, I think dates back to 65 or 64, so it predates some of our organizations, but most of these organizations actually rose out of the 60s around the same time. In Mexico with Charles Biasini Rivera in the Bronx, the Blackburn Workshop, which we do collaborate with still, and they've been very supportive of us, with Bob Blackburn. That reflects the relationship that Betty had with Bob. You can go on down the list. Harlem School of the Arts, and Dance Theater of Harlem. Go down the list.
Wow.
These are the folks that put these organizations together had to fight through Betty and Martha. I remember in my previous life, their tenacity to come to funders when there was really no system to get funding, and really demand the funding to get their organizations going, and to be absolutely dogged in their determination to build these institutions. So as Souleo said, we really have no excuse. We can't fight with one another. We need to work together, and we certainly are. And I know Melody she's an old friend. We should find a project to really work on, and at the very least work together to market one another's work and make sure everybody that we share audiences, etc. So absolutely.
Beautiful. Michael, I definitely have to reveal, you like Spike Lee in his film Inside Man, you are an inside man because you worked on the other side of the table, so to speak. So tell me a little bit about your experience there with, I believe is it Niska and other things? So tell me. Go ahead.
Well, I hesitate to talk about it because it sounds, as Donald Trump would say, "Oh, he's so conceited. He's so conceited." No, I'm not really. I guess I am, but I'm not. I don't mean to be, that's for sure. But I will say this: that experience on both sides of the table does give me a perspective that I think is very important. And I'll try to be brief, but I somehow ended up in New York. And I was in Brooklyn, one of the places you try to stay away from. And at one point, this is back in '77, after the blackout, it came to me. I said, well, where am I? So ultimately, I kind of migrated into Manhattan. But I was fortunate to get a position through the old CETA program initially at the newly autonomous Department of Cultural Affairs. Wow. That's when I met Betty Blayton Taylor, who had come to talk to my boss, who was the assistant commissioner, and try to and get some money out of him. And Martha was the same way. Martha would come in there and try to get some money out of him. Mm-hmm. I'm having dinner on the West Side with my wife one early dinner one afternoon, and Betty came in and saw me at this restaurant and just said, "Unthank, where's my money?" And I said, "Oh my God." That was my first experience with Betty. And our relationship never became like super close or very, very personal, but I think that I understood the challenges she faced, and I think she understood that I understood that, and that's what formed the bond that ended up with me here today, and also Dionis, all the folks, Tomo Mori, Philomena Obatola Grant, Martha Jones, and Milagros Batista, as artists that are currently there. We also have a darkroom program, a collective of photographers that work out of the Carnival. So the Carnival is quite busy. The challenge is to stabilize it and make sure it is sustainable for the next 50 years. So we are all working together, and everyone in West Harlem, and across into East Harlem, El Barrio, we should all work together and make sure our voices are heard, because that's what our predecessors ask of us.
Gotcha. Beautiful. And Catherine, certainly since you write about it, and I know that you have an objective eye. So tell me, isn't the arts groups and organizations uptown getting their fair share, or does there need to be more?
Don't ask me to be objective, because this is pretty personal. I'll just lead with two. So similar to Dionis, I was a Carnival kid, but I also went to Harlem School of the Arts and Dance Theater of Harlem. Like I said, I was an only child, so my parents just had to put me in as many things to distract me from the fact that I kept asking for a sibling. But yeah, definitely. I'm always for getting us more funding, getting us more resources, getting us more support, because this type of programming changes lives, truly. I never thought I would be an artist. It still feels a little strange to wear that title at times. But I can say that I am so grateful for all of the mentors and teachers, including people like Dionis when I was growing up going to these programs, telling me as a black child that I can be an artist, I can create, that I have something important to say. While I do it primarily through my writing, I also do it through photography, painting when I just like for relaxing. So definitely I'm all for getting us these resources, getting us these tools, because it's not only just always a career path, but sometimes people just need an outlet to express themselves. Sometimes you just make art for yourself, and that's equally as important. And we should be giving, especially young people, especially Black young people, as many tools as they can have to channel whatever they're going through, working through, and to tell their story.
Catherine, I've got two questions for you. One, you said you didn't think growing up that you would become an artist. So I want to know at what point when you realized that you were an artist.
Ooh. You know, I actually didn't really start thinking that way until the end of college, when I had the opportunity to submit my senior thesis, and it was a play, because I actually went to school for political science with a minor, and what my school's it had an interdisciplinary program called Faith, Peace, Justice under the theology department. Wow. So when I had the chance to write a play and talk about all these things I'd spent the last 4 years, studying and research, I was like, oh, I can still talk about academic topics, but in a way that's a bit more palatable and just frankly more entertaining and interesting than like some dissertation or thesis that would just collect dust in the library. So I think that was definitely a moment. And then especially this exhibit still here, it still feels really surreal. I'm like, wow, I'm back where it all began. And now I'm having my first ever co-curated exhibit going up. So this has been a very validating experience as well, to be like, okay, even if I don't feel like it some days, I feel entrusted by people like Michael and Dionis that I am one. So I'm very grateful for that.
My second question to you is, what are you working on now?
Oh boy, definitely this exhibit. I'm actually also in the process of going back to school as well. So I will be starting a PhD program this fall at Binghamton University.
Wow.
In sociology, and I will be studying resistance movements, which I'm all excited about. But I'll leave it at that just to be radio friendly. But I'm also working on a couple of plays. I also do short film writing. I just really like to tell a lot of stories. And then in terms of investigative journalism, I have a project that I need to get out, but I did like a research project on how the pandemic impacted restaurant workers, the influence of going to prison. And I spoke to people as well. I did a project on how the prison system impacts people and their view of themselves and how they find joy after a traumatic experience like that. So I really do dip my toe in a lot of waters, but definitely right now the priority is like making sure I get my butt up to Binghamton in time, getting this exhibit ready, and getting a couple of plays read in the near future.
And NightWatchman, I know you can relate because you also have the West Indian background, like me.
Yes.
I'm going to claim it. That's right.
Absolutely.
So Catherine, having the parents also accept that an artist, what the heck is that all about? I mean, was there any discussion like that?
So one of the reasons I felt like an artist at the end of college is because I went to college under the pre-law track. The whole plan was to be a lawyer. And I was telling Dionis the other day, it's like, there's nothing more perfect than like being a parent, a Caribbean, a Black parent, and your child naturally wants to become a lawyer or a doctor.
Yep.
And then I sprung the news on them second semester of senior year. I said, hey, it's not happening anymore. Thankfully, my parents, I definitely got a couple passive aggressive comments for a couple of years. Like, dang, you're going to be a lawyer. All your friends are lawyers. And but I'm very grateful to have like my parents who were putting me in programs like Art Carnival, Dance Theater of Harlem. I think they secretly knew that love was always there because they put it in me. It's like, you know what? These are the consequences of your actions. You should have kept me. You should have put me in pre-law programs. So they've come around. They're very proud of me. They'll be at the exhibit opening tonight, including my grandmother.
Nice.
So I'm very grateful to just have a community that once they see that I'm putting in the work, they're behind me all the way.
Beautiful. And Dionis, you know you can't get away from this. You know this already. So you too, man, growing up in that household, were there any disappointments or were there, yes, we see it. We see the potential there.
I'll say that my parents are pretty supportive because I think for them what mattered the most was that we were in a safe space, that we were protected, and that we were engaged with something, right? I think that they, the Carnival did a really great service for them because it allowed them to see the possibilities of what being an artist could be, right? Because we had illustrators, fine artists, photographers, video artists, ceramics,
Nice.
it exposed them. It was an education for them as well, as it was for us, because we, and when I say we, my brother and I, we were very interested in the arts because we're very process based, people, like my parents were farmers, construction workers, and so process is kind of like it's in our blood, right? So process is everything, and times and seasons, goes along with that. And I think that's what it means to be an artist as well, is to appreciate and embrace process. And I think that they were going through a process of understanding what being an artist can be, right? And they just supported it, right? Because they came from a place where these kinds of environments were not being cultivated, right? It was a bit of a desert so to speak. And so to come to a place like New York and experience a place like the Carnival in Harlem, and just Harlem in general, where there's, in comparison, there's an abundance here, right? And they were able to really see, what we could become. And so they were pretty supportive of it, right? Sometimes, there's always that moment where they're like, I don't quite get what you're making right now, but that's honesty for you, right? And, but that's also, I think, but over time, they started to kind of see, the things that they did appreciate and things that they can understand. And in those moments when they don't understand, and that's where a good conversation can take place, right?
Yes.
But over time, it just grew.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Dionis, do you have a preferred medium that you like to work in?
It's a tough question because I do so many different types of mediums. But I would always say that my central that I can always fall back on is drawing. Because drawing is the one thing. It's kind of like drawing is like a cousin to like writing, right? It's a different kind of way to interpret what's in the mind, what's going on in my spirit. And so, drawing is like, pretty much writing words, you know what I mean? And, sometimes it's not anything that can be easily articulated, but it's like a purge in some way, right? And so once the drawing comes out, drawings can go towards sculpture, drawings can go towards printmaking, drawing can go towards a painting, so I guess drawing would be like the center of it all.
And what are you working on right now?
Right now, wow. I'm making
working on making sure that his son gets fed. That's what he's working on. But go ahead.
Well, yeah, that's for sure. And take a nap so we can have this conversation too. Right? But yeah, taking care of the family is always at its core. But right now I've been doing a couple of things. Been making an instrument. I've been making a guida. And that's like this like cylindrical kind of like instrument that has a lot of punctured holes in it. And you have like this like kind of like a scraper, so it kind of it creates a sound with that. So for me, it's always like looking at like my culture and how do I want to reinterpret it through like an American lens, right? Using found objects. So I use like I'm using a soda can cracker jar that's made out of aluminum, and using that as like the base to be able to create this instrument, along with just creating some drawings for other prints. And yeah, that's where I'm at.
Wow, very, very nice. So I mean, NightWatchman, what about you? What are you working on? Because I know you have a little artistic background yourself. So are you doing anything special besides telling your parents and accepting you for doing community radio? Just curious.
Well, my parents have passed to the other side, so they have to accept everything I do at this point. I would say I'm expressing myself through photography these days and writing. So those are the media that I like, and of course, there's an art to what we do with this show.
Yes.
But photography and writing, and also some digital imaging. I play around in some of the various online apps, like Canva and things like that to design things. Used to do a little bit more in Photoshop, but not so much lately. But I do love I love the camera. I love images. I love night photography. I have a lot of shots of moons over Harlem. I have a kind of a series of.
That's why you are the Night Watchman. Is that correct?
Absolutely. Yeah.
So Night Watchman, you need to come over to the Carnival and join the collective of artists that are working in the darkroom with actual film, not digital, and trying to teach folks that young people, particularly, that where the image actually comes from and how we have an image in the first place. So.
I would love to do that, and I'll give you a little history of that. I don't even know if Curtis knows that, but my dad, who was an engineer, that was his profession. But he went to City College. He worked his way through City College as a photographer. He shot weddings, and growing up, he had a dark room and developed film. And so I grew up,
you got that bug
in the dark room, and the smell of the chemicals and the light and all of that's really very much a part of my history. I do have a couple of actual film cameras, but it's a little bit hard to follow that part of it these days. But I would love to come over and join your collective.
Yeah, Bob, we're kindred spirits. I also work with film. I'm learning a bit, but I use the darkroom. It's a really great space, so we'll have to do a session together.
Oh, wow. Absolutely.
Who knew that this connection? Now, Night Watchman, you're not going to flex and say you have like a Hasselblad or some crazy stuff like that, or do you? I don't know.
I have some Nikons. I don't have a Hasselblad. My dad used to have a Rolleiflex. That's what he used, which is not quite a Hasselblad, but these are what they call wide format cameras, where you have a bigger digital image in the negative, and so you get really sharp photos. And I was able to learn along the way from him and other photographers. I was blessed to be able to meet Kwame Braithwaite during the 90s and have a friendship with him, and obviously he's one of the great Harlem photographers. And I just have a love and appreciation of the image and of expression, because that's a lot of it is about the eye and about framing. So it's very much about what you see, and sometimes you'll go by something and everybody else doesn't see it, and you see an angle on it, and that brings out that art. So I do love the medium.
Wow. Okay, Night Watchman. So Michael, certainly. Children's Art Carnival have their own building, but I do know that with some artists that are out there, let's say in the wilderness, I remember they had, let's say the developers, I'll just go, Janus Property.
Yes.
And I believe it was Shishama.
Shishama had been there, yes.
Okay, and we're able. So I do remember that there will be eventually a RP release for who's these people? For Mark 125. That's
that would be great if the city would get off of that building. Does the city still own it?
Yes, they do. Yes, they do.
Ridiculous that it sits there like that.
Well, now also I remember you mentioning a collaboration, of course, and getting folks out there to know about, of course, East Harlem as well. We're talking about the Harlem African Burial Ground. Okay. Nice. So I could see Children's Art Carnival having collaborations and possibly some real partnership with them in that. Yeah,
absolutely. We're open to partner with folks that are interested to partner and to build. And, all of us are constrained to some extent in terms of capacity. So that's another reason to work together. So the carnival is definitely open to that. We have to build ourselves more. There's a lot of work to be done.
Okay, excellent. And having said, Catherine, are you familiar with those two areas too? Mart 125, right? As well as, of course, the Harlem African Burial Ground, where in 2009, bones were found, because remember, this was a Dutch colony of formerly enslaved Africans. So they're looking to actually create a memorial on the site to teach people about the history of colonization by the Dutch in Harlem. And so I could definitely see Children's Art Carnival putting some visuals in place. What are your thoughts?
Ooh, I mean, I'm all for honoring this, honoring all those that we have lost through the brutalities of colonization. As a Black and Indigenous person, this whole country is a bit cursed. So I definitely would love to see the carnival elevate this history and talk about it more. I think it's something that we can't shy away from, because it just really does influence the fabric of this country, how we operate socially, culturally, economically. This country doesn't exist without colonization the way it does. So I'm so excited to see what we can create and what we can build, and also what we learn, so that when we move forward, how do we not make this mistake again as we continue to make it abroad, and we continue to make this mistake here within our prison systems. So I would love to continue to work on that. Keep me in the loop on that, Michael. I'd love to work on something like that.
Absolutely.
Further.
Wow, NightWatchman, I hear some synergies going on here. What do you think, man?
No, that's what it's about.
Woo! Well, tell me, Dionis, tell me that you heard some of the stuff, and I'm just wondering about Mart 125. I'm also thinking about the Harlem African Burial Ground and a possible collaboration with the Children's Art Carnival. Your thoughts? What do you think? We may have lost him visually.
Dionis.
Dionis, no.
Yeah. We're good. We'll come back to him. We'll come back.
All right, but it's now time for our lightning round.
Are you saying lightning round?
Yes.
Are you talking about people having their answers concise and succinct?
Well, this is an opportunity for you guys to just kind of give a final statement and just tell what you're doing, where you can be contacted, that sort of thing. So.
Yes. Okay. And also, I guess what one of the other things might be, I want to talk about this summer. What is popping through the Children's Art Carnival? I want to know specifics. Okay. So I'll end with you, Michael, but I'll start with Dionis. Tell us what's popping this summer, man.
This summer, what is popping is the Harlem Defender exhibition, Harlem Eternal. This group exhibition, I think, is such an awesome exhibition. And we have a wonderful workshop happening tomorrow, actually. We're having people create their own zines, and they are using a Xerox transfer process. Okay, hold on, guys. I got my son over here trying to move.
He
wants to see what's popping in Harlem.
And he wants to come on over real quick because he just woke up from his nap.
Show him. Let's see him.
But he's good. Hold on 1 second.
Lenny. Here he goes. Lenny. Yeah. Oh, that's right. Mr. DeMille, I'm ready for my close-up. Yes.
Yeah, he's ready for his close-up. He's like trying to stay cool.
How you doing, buddy? and Lenny, please tell your pops next time he's giving you a bottle, I also want a bottle, okay?
No.
All right.
No, but yeah, aside, from that workshop, I mean, I think after that, we're just making sure that the gallery stays open so people can come see the wonderful work that they've created. But we'll pretty much be creating some more programming over the course of the summer into the fall, because the show will close on September 20th.
Got you. Thank you for that. Catherine, you are up, and tell us what's popping in Harlem and beyond. Come on now.
Oh, yeah. I mean, definitely still here. Harlem Eternal, you got to come see it. Like Dionis says, we're running from July 10th to September 20th. Come see it. We also got the Harlem Summer Nights, if y'all know about that.
Oh my God!
That
You
used
talking about Marco and company? Go ahead.
Yeah. It used to be Uptown Night Market. They actually are having it, the first one tonight after the exhibit. So that's what my friends and I all plan on going to. Harlem is always an outside space, so I hope everyone is outside enjoying this summer, especially after that brutal winter we had. But yeah, we're just so excited to continue sharing this work. And I know you said just to share where you can find us. So yeah, you can check out my website, kathrydestin.com. You'll see me at the Carnival throughout the rest of this summer, promoting at the other events we've got going on. So I can't wait to see everyone.
Oh, excellent. And okay, so Mr. Charleston, and just curious, what's the art scene like in Charleston, South Carolina, man? I just want to know. And then also, what's popping in Harlem, baby? Come on.
Well, the art scene in Charleston continues to grow, and just be pretty excitable in and of itself. I've seen a lot of creatives join forces in Charleston to really enrich that city. In Harlem, the things that I will tell you are all about the Children's Art Carnival. We're at 62 Hamilton Terrace, still here. Harlem Eternal is up from, as Catherine just said, from this evening through September 20th. The Children's Art Carnival, the making of contemporary artists, a fabulous exhibition which Souleo curated at the Wallach Art Gallery, located at Columbia's New Digs on the west side. They call it Manhattanville. And it is at the Lynn Fest Center for the Arts. It will be running through September 13th. So please come out and check us out. Check us out.
Absolutely. And Michael, you know what? When you first said, of course, what was that? Manhattanville. There was a little pause there, because I do remember when we had quote unquote Central Harlem, this thing about Soho.
Soho, yes.
Okay, which we will not use. Okay, but Manhattanville, I don't feel that the same visceral response. So I am a bit more accepting. What do you think?
Well, I think there is an actual history to what was called, what was Manhattanville back in the turn of the century. So that actually is something, as opposed to Soho, which never existed. But you know, the borders of Harlem continued to move north, certainly in the 60s and 70s, as as the Upper West Side became more and more gentrified. So so there are institutions, there are folks that still consider Harlem to be like this what would you call it, a new frontier or something. And they're missing out. Come up and enjoy.
Nice. Well, NightWatchman, do you think that they'll all be invited back to the cookout or what?
I think so.
But hold it, Catherine, she doesn't do, let's say, potato salad with raisins or what? Just curious.
Raisins?
Oh, raisins.
Oh, please.
You're losing me. I thought I liked you, Curtis. Raisins.
I tried.
Raisins.
I'm sorry.
Just put some chocolate in there, some almond.
Chocolate.
Yeah, I mean, if you're gonna go to go ahead. Put some creams in your potato salad.
I think you might not be invited back to the next barbecue.
Who let him in the first place?
Okay, so NightWatchman, why don't you take us home, okay?
All right. Well, you've been listening to Soul Lounge Primetime on WHCR 90.3 FM, the voice of Harlem. Also live streaming on YouTube and Facebook. You can always find us on Tuesday, 5 o'clock on the radio and 8 o'clock live streaming on YouTube and Facebook. We want to thank our guests for sharing their experiences and encourage everybody to support the Children's Art Carnival. Go to childrensartcarnival.org to follow all the events and programs that are going on there, and show up in person, because there's a lot going on there and it's been happening for some time. So Thank you all for joining us. And yes, we all will be back at the barbecue, even Curtis.
Wow.